SIG test number 3 is on trig basics, so seeing whether or not you can locate different trig values on the unit circle. So this first one says, on the unit circle, find all locations where tangent of theta equals negative radical 3. So first things first, we can eliminate some by realizing where tangent is positive versus negative. So if we look at all students take calculus, and for the 4 quadrants here, they're all positive here, so it definitely can't be there because we're looking for where tangent is negative. Tangent is also positive here, okay, so it's not in the first or third quadrants, which means that somewhere in the second and fourth quadrants, this is true, where you can find some value of theta where it equals negative radical 3. So I'm looking in these 2 quadrants, and honestly, there's only, if we're thinking about reference angles, there's only 2 options for which one it could be. It could either be our pi over 6 reference angle, like I've drawn here and here, or it could be our pi over 3 reference angle, like I've drawn here and here. Now the reason that it can only be those is because the 45-degree reference angle, tangent is going to be 1, right? Negative 1, because sine and cosine would be the same. So if you divide radical 2 over 2 by radical 2 over 2, then those would cancel to 1, or simplify to 1. So it can't be the 45-degree angle, or in other words, the pi over 4 angle. So it's either pi over 6 or pi over 3. So if we look at those different values, and so you might need to do a little bit of computation, or you might need to do a little bit of thinking in your head. If we look at pi over 6 just as a reference angle, so for example, let me go back to the before all of this. There we go. If you look at pi over 6 as a reference angle, sine of pi over 6 and cosine of pi over 6 would be the point radical 3 over 2, comma 1/2. So we know that tangent is sine over cosine. So if I do sine divided by cosine, let's see if I get radical 3. So if I do 1/2 divided by cosine, which is radical 3 over 2, remember that I multiply by the reciprocal, so that would be 1/2 times 2 over radical 3, which simplifies, if I rationalize the denominator, that would simplify to radical 3 over 3. So that is definitely not equal to what I'm looking for it to equal. So I know that I'm not looking for a reference angle of pi over 6. Okay, that's the incorrect reference angle. So let's try pi over 3. So let's erase this again. And let's go back and try pi over 3 and see if that's the correct reference angle. So if I try pi over 3, and sine cosine would be the point 1/2 comma radical 3 over 2. So if I divide now for tangent, again I'm dividing sine divided by cosine. So in order to simplify that, I multiply by the reciprocal. So 3/2 times 2 over 1, which simplifies to radical 3. So notice that that is the correct answer I'm looking for. I wanted to find out where does tangent equal negative radical 3. So I just found the correct reference angle, which is pi over 3. And now we just have to go back to what we were talking about earlier and place it in the correct quadrants. So what we know is we're looking in quadrant 2 because we know tangent is negative there, and we're also looking in quadrant 4 because tangent is negative there. So I'm just trying to figure out what angle is this and what angle is this, because those are my reference angles of pi over 3, and they're located in the correct quadrants. So first of all, it says on the unit circle, find all locations where tangent of theta equals negative radical 3. So that's these 2 locations. Part A says, in the circle, write the measurement of theta in radians. So if we're counting, this is 0 radians, okay, right here. This is pi over 3. This is 2 pi over 3. So in that circle, I want to write 2 pi over 3. So I know that it's going to be really tiny and hard to read, but I'll do my best. So 2 pi over 3. All right, and then we keep going. So if that's 2 pi over 3, over here would be 3 pi over 3, or in other words, pi. This is 4 pi over 3. This would be 5 pi over 3. So in that circle, I'm going to write 5 pi over 3. 5 pi over 3. And then last but not least, going back to the beginning, this would be 6 pi over 3, or in other words, 2 pi. So it makes sense, and I believe that we labeled them correctly. So we did part A. Part B says, in the box, write the value of cosecant of theta. Cosecant of theta. So remember that cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Okay, so let me erase some of this work so we can look closely. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, okay? So if we're looking for the reciprocal of sine, remember that in these two coordinates, or in these two quadrants, I'm sorry, this would be the point negative 1/2, comma, radical 3 over 2. And down here, this is the point 1/2, comma, negative radical 3 over 2. Alright, so if I'm looking for the reciprocal of sine, all I have to do is take the reciprocal of sine here, and take the reciprocal of sine here, alright, and then write them in the boxes. So, what is the reciprocal of radical 3 over 2? Let's find out. The reciprocal of radical 3 over 2 would be 2 over radical 3. And if I rationalize the denominator, by multiplying on top and bottom, I get 2 radical 3 over 3. So if I write that here in this box, and I'll do it in red so you guys can read it, this would be 2 radical 3, oops, that's not right in the box. Here, 2 radical 3 over 3. Alright, and then this one down here as well. 2 radical 3 over 3. The only difference down here is that notice it's negative, so this is going to be negative 2 radical 3 over 3. Now, hopefully the circle is big enough on your SIG test for you guys to actually write them in the boxes, but if not, just get it as close as you possibly can, like what I did here. So I believe we've successfully answered all the questions they asked of us, and that's all we have to do. So label the radians in the correct circle, and label the boxes for what value they're asking for here.